Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot and thanks for joining me today. Great to have you with me. So today we're looking at pregnancy and when is that going to happen? So what's going on for you at the moment? Are you in a relationship? Are you on your own? What are your circumstances? These are all important factors to underpin what we're seeing in terms of the baseline and how things move forwards into a future outcome with you becoming pregnant. So before we get started, if you want to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon while you're there. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Now, before you on the screen, we've got 4 different cards, and the idea is to choose a card that resonates with you really clearly. Once you've made that choice, that will be your reading. Perfectly fine to choose more than one card if it comes through really strongly. And remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave behind anything that doesn't. Now we've got card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, and card number 4. Now, centering yourself and focusing on the cards, sitting with your intuition, your inner voice, your senses. Which of these cards comes through to you most strongly? Is it card 1, card 2, card 3, or card 4? Now, down below, there are 4 different timestamps representing each of these different cards. If you want to go to the card that you chose, I'll see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to card 1. This is your reading, and today we're looking at when you will get pregnant. And we've got some cards out. We're ready to jump in and have a look and see what's going on. So I feel like you're already in a relationship with somebody, but I feel this connection is a little bit touch and go just at this moment. My sense is that you're feeling that perhaps you'd be better to move on, to walk away, and that things have come to a point where they're not really balancing out or looking as though that it might be reconcilable. When I look at the other person, I feel that this is a very strong individual who has a definite point of view. I think they have a tendency to be quite overbearing. They've got a very strong, very masculine energy that to me is interprets very, very paternal. They really want to take care of you, take care of everything that's going on. So they're really at the forefront in terms of trying to keep everything in hand in a way that is ordered. And it can be quite systematic as well. I think this is somebody who has the tendency to be a bit of a control freak at times. They really like to have the last word. But you have to remember, for me, this is coming from a good place. I think it's because they care and they want to make sure that everybody is okay and that everything is in order. Just so that if anything goes wrong, there is structure in place for everybody to fall back onto in a way that gives them support. But I get a slowness with this person. I get that their pace is not quick. This is somebody who takes their time about setting things up. And for you, I think you're a very different character. I think that you're quite a dynamic person. I think you react to your instincts in a way where you're very trusting of them. You have a tendency to go with the flow. When things feel right, they are right for you. And I think that this is for me where there's a definite difference in terms of what you're both wanting. You're coming from the right place, but you're also on different pages. I think for me, I kind of get a sense that you're wanting to have a child now, that you're wanting to be pregnant now. That for you, your instincts to say, let's just go for it and we'll figure it out as we go along. no matter what challenges are in the way, and I kind of feel like there probably are some challenges for you at this time, but for you, I think you're a person that says, look, we can navigate that. Let's just go for it. The time is right. Let's do it now. Whereas they're kind of looking at a much longer term point of view of having a child. So for them, it's really about putting things in order, getting security into place, making sure there's enough money in the bank, and possibly they really want to, they really want to put a lot of padding there. So it's not just about, having enough. It's about having more than enough. I think they're quite a driven person who is very hardworking. They definitely like to be in control of the work that they're doing. They like to manage things, so everything's a project. Everything is about reaching a goal that is about success, really. My feeling is, though, that I have to say, this person is somebody who has had a lot of problems growing up. I felt that this was somebody who had a lot of heartache from their own childhood, and I feel that there have been parental figures involved in their life that perhaps were unreliable or who have let them down in a way where they've suffered a lot. I think, for me, I felt that this person... I really felt that there was a lot of unreliability in terms of influence going on in their life, right? Historically speaking, that people have repeatedly let them down in a way that, there's a lot of heartache there, a lot of suffering, because there hasn't been a backbone in their life that has given them the support that they've needed to actually flourish and become the person that they wanted to be. It's not to say that they aren't the person that they wanted to be, but I don't think it's been easy for them. I think there's been a lot of struggle. I feel like there's been a lot of struggle there. And I would say that, I'll be honest with you, I actually feel that there's been some struggle there for you as well, but I think you've navigated it in a very different way. I think your instincts have served you very well. You've managed to navigate your life in a way that is very dynamic. I think the difference between the two of you is that you're much more trusting. This person isn't, and they've had bad experiences with people that have led to mistrust, whereas you've had bad experiences with people, but you've just not let it affect you in a way that defines you. I think the idea of money and security for this person is very strong. They want to have a lot for their child. They really want to be able to lavish their child in a way that gives their child everything. And I say theirs, this is for the both of you. I think that they want the child to have, luxury. They want to have a lot of padding there that's all about security and, giving the child, whatever it is. This is somebody who would spoil their child. Yeah. They want more than enough, but they also want to spoil you. I think this is somebody who works very hard. And possibly this is where the difference is in terms of your characters. This is somebody who's very caught up in their work and the structure of their day to become... They're very ambitious, so they're working very hard towards goals. They see a timeline of having a child that is possibly, I felt, much more long term. You want a child now. This is somebody who maybe wants a child within 3 years. That there are tick boxes that need to be ticked, in terms of the timeline that actually are about putting things correctly into place. I think for me, so before they have a child, that is. For me, though, I think you get quite threatened by I think you see the potential to be with this person and that there is a lot there that could give you a success and fulfillment. I think at times you do question, whether this is something that you should kind of fight for, whether that you should, because at the moment I feel like you're wanting to walk away. You're wanting to move on. But that's more of an emotional response. I think deep down you actually feel that there is a lot here that could give you quite a successful outcome in terms of connection with this person, fulfillment, a successful life, maybe at a material level, but that it requires quite a lot of work. I think that the kind of, I think the deal breaker every so often that comes up is that this is somebody who can be quite threatening and very dominant. And I think that kind of scares you a bit. You back off. It's like, oh, I don't know. I just, that to me, kind of corners me, puts me into a position where I lose sight of the potential of where this can all go. And I think that's where you are at the moment. I think you've actually really sort of seen that this is like a situation that feels just like it's too much hard work for it to become a success. Your confidence is undermined. You've started questioning everything. You're wondering if you have to make certain sacrifices that actually give this the start that it needs, the new beginning that it needs. This is definitely a person who is assertive. They don't take no for an answer. They can be quite inflexible. When they make their mind up, they think that they're in control. It's all about what they want. So they can be quite hard work. I feel that this is somebody who has a lot of pain. They carry a lot of pain from their past. They're in a lot of pain now. They feel that you obviously want to move on, and that has crushed them. They feel let down again. It brings up a lot of their past as well, the dark past. This is somebody who suffered a lot in their childhood. I wondered if it had something to do with their father. I kind of feel like there's a really strong, dominating parental figure in the background that has caused a lot of suffering for them. If it's not a father figure, it's definitely somebody who is very strong, very assertive. And, in some ways, they're kind of, they've assimilated those characteristics into who it is that they are. But you have to remember, this is somebody who is coming from the right place. They want to look after you. They want to look after their child, your child. They want to have more than enough for everybody so that everybody's happy. And, right deep down at it, this is somebody who feels that you're a soulmate. So there's a real loving connection there in a way where they want to be, a parent with you, to have a child. Okay. So for me, I feel, there are some definite, tricky obstacles that are in your way because the both of you are going in very different directions at this time. But this idea of having a child is something that is really at the forefront because you're feeling that you want to do this now, whereas they're looking at a much longer term timeline. I feel that the way forward here is to make peace. So we got peace over here. At the end of the day, I feel a child is in the balance here for the both of you, but that you both need to repair what's been going on and make up for some lost time. And as much as you need to come from your heart, I think you're feeling that you need to walk away from this because this person's not getting you. But at the same time, if anybody's going to get anything, it's going to be you. You're the one that actually has the heart and the intuition to be able to tap in and understand where this person is really coming from. And their heart is very defensive. It's hurting. They have a very painful history. I think they've also had a lot of painful relationships where people have let them down. And I feel that you walking away and feeling the way that you are at the moment, it kind of compounds that for them. It isolates them. It's kind of like everything that was ever going to go wrong. This is it. This is the one thing that would be the worst case scenario. But I feel that you have the ability to kind of reach in at a heartfelt level to really give to this person in a way that, is understanding and cuts through all of the uncertainty. You've got, the reality is you love this person. I think you want to have a child with this person. But for me, it's about making some compromises. And I feel that that's what's going to happen. So in terms of projecting forwards, I feel that the next year is a really important year where the two of you are reconciling a lot of what your differences are about. I feel that security will build over this next year. And I felt that within a year's time, there was a really important change of direction in terms of your housing situation. I felt that housing played a very important part in this reading, that there was a change in your housing circumstances. That could be adding on something to your house or maybe renovating your house, doing this place up in a way that was sort of readying it for as a nurturing ground to have a child. It could be about moving into a new house. I felt expansion was really big in terms of what it meant to kind of redefine your housing situation. It's really about safeguarding for the future to have a bigger family. And a bigger family is what this is all about. I felt that the two of you would actually get back on track over this next year, and that you would be really singing from the same hymn sheet, essentially, and that you would be pregnant within 12 months' time. So I would say around 12 months, actually. So pregnant within a year's time. And then I felt obviously having a child, but then I felt another pregnancy would come in really soon after that. I felt so, like maybe within another 6 to 12 months after that. I kind of felt like there were two children that came in very closely, one after the other. So pregnant in a year's time, having a child, then getting pregnant again. At very close age proximity. But I felt that there was another child in the balance, and that this third child, there was a much longer a much longer distance in terms of when that would be. Maybe within like a 3-year period after the last child. I think that there was a much bigger age gap. So I felt 3 children was really. I feel like the fertility aspect of this reading is very strong. I think you are ready. I think there's a big part of why you're going through what you're going through. Maternal instincts, are really sort of there. Receptivity to having a child is really there. It's more about, reconciling the differences between the two of you in a way where you're both on the same page. And I kind of feel that this person needs to get into their heart, and they need some guidance, some healing. I feel that you are able to give that to this person in a way that helps them to feel confident, right? And that's what this is all about. They just want to feel confident that it is the right time. At the moment, they're really in their head, and they're structuring everything from a very kind of, I guess, a kind of very work and sort of, project related, perspective. Whereas this is, for you, an instinctual process. And I think that there are some compromises that need to take place so that this person kind of meets you halfway and you might meet them halfway. But for me, this is a really amazing future in terms of pregnancy and having children. I hope this reading has made some sense to you. And if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. And tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Hit subscribe, of course. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Plenty of information about me, who it is that I am, and what it is that I do. Thanks very much, and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card 2. This is your reading, and we're looking at when you will become pregnant. So, cards on the table. Let's jump straight into it. I feel that you are seeing somebody. I felt this was a fairly established connection with this person. I think this other person is very motivated to get to know you more in a way that is, I guess, deeper. They're looking to mature this relationship in a way that takes it to the next level. Magician and the Knight of Chalices, really indicates quite a dynamic person who wants to get close to you. This is somebody who's telling their friends about you. This is the one. This is the person I want to be with. They reflect a lot of positive observations about who it is that you are, as well as sharing, not intimate details, but, experiences of how well things are going between the two of you. I get a sense this is a really playful person. There's something very youthful about them. I think they like to muck around, have a bit of fun. They don't take things too seriously, which could be a part of what the problem is in terms of, the heart of this particular reading. I felt that this is a very social and very popular person. This is somebody who's actually kind of out there in a way that is very connected, networked into lots of friends, maybe lots of family. Very well-liked person. They certainly know how to command an audience in a way that is just very natural. There's something very natural about this person. But, Knight of Chalices, it's a card of love on foot, and it's a very motivated card in terms of an open heart wanting to establish a deeper relationship. And that's, driven by the Magician, which is a card of initiating action, so this person is kind of putting it out there with you. However, I feel for you that you're kind of maybe at a bit of a crossroads about where this is all going. Something's happened for you to pull back in a way, to have a look at what's going on in a reflective way. And I think that reflective process really is very much drawing on past relationships and what's happened in the past and how that contrasts with this particular relationship. I have here the High Priestess and the Ten of Pentacles. My sense is this person has been a little bit vague about the idea of what kids or a family means. I think they've been very, let's put it this way, less than clear about what their intentions are for a future family. And perhaps, and this is what I am picking up, is perhaps they've even said, look, I don't want to have kids. Now, I think you need some context here in terms of what that might mean. This is a note that I pulled for myself here in terms of this person. And they are saying on one level, like, I don't want to have kids. So the idea of kids for them at the moment is perhaps a little bit far-fetched. It is that I do pick up immaturity with this person. There's certainly a youthful, playful quality to their nature. And I think at the moment, the idea of kids is something that, grown adults do. Now, it's not to say that this person isn't an adult, but perhaps the idea of kids is something that's much further down the line. And also, perhaps it's something that they're just not able to envisage at the moment in a way that gives you confidence that this is something that is squarely on the agenda for them. The High Priestess is a card of the future, but it's also an uncertain card. It's not a clear card. And it's coupled with the Ten of Pentacles, which is about family and security and settling down and really integrating, your family into the wider network of family. So for me, this is somebody who is very youthful, very playful, really likes you, wants to have a relationship with you, keen to take it to the next level and to mature things. But at the same time, they probably dropped a little bit of a whammy, without even knowing it, and possibly said that they are very uncertain about what they want for the future in terms of having children. It could also be that you're picking up a lot of what's going on here in a way where you're interpreting the idea that they may not want to have kids just now or even in the future. I think where this really compounds for you is because you have had, I feel like you've had bad experiences in the past with previous relationships where it's gotten to a point of commitment and the other person has let you down in relation to the idea of taking it to the next level of commitment or over the idea of actually having kids. I sense here I've got frightened by past relationships. I think that this has almost been like an ongoing theme. It's like something that you've experienced before. And you've become quite sensitized to this potential in anybody that you meet. So in some ways, perhaps you're actually meeting people in terms of the idea of a relationship. And for you, it's almost like you want to get this clear really from the outset so that there's no uncertainty between the two of you. I can see here the Wheel and King of Pentacles. This is about the next phase in your life. Often marks, periods of time, 7, 14, 21 years. I feel that you have come to a point in your life where you feel that you've indulged too many relationships that have let you down and that they never actually go where you really want them to go. They certainly don't lead on to this idea of establishing a future to have family and security, and to get serious about what a future means to settle down. Now, the Wheel is obviously about taking a risk as well. It's taking a chance. It's a bit of a gamble. And I feel that you are looking at this other person in a way where you like what you see, you really enjoy how you feel with this person, but there is certainly a sense of chance, of risk with them. And what you're really wanting, if we look at the King of Pentacles, is to establish a really solid foundation in terms of where things are going. I think you want to set up a really healthy existence with lots of security, money in the bank, maybe even property, or at least having assets in a way where you have something to fall back on, but also that you have a secure future. And in relation to children, I feel that, it's really about your clock. The clock is ticking, tick-tock, yeah? Loud and clear. And so for you, it's not just about the idea of indulging anybody anymore. It's actually about a timeline of reality that says, look, I want to have kids, and, this has to start getting a bit serious, because if I don't do that now, if I don't start to formulate a timeline and get some grabs on how this is supposed to actually evolve into something that manifests results, I'm going to miss the clock. Maybe I won't be able to get pregnant when I really want to. So for you, it's kind of really at the forefront. It's something that you just don't want to miss in terms of a timeline or a clock. So we've got quite a lot going on here, but let's have a look at how this person feels about you. I mean, look, protective and nurturing. They're really into you. I think they've made every effort they can possibly make to get your attention. I think this is a very giving person, and by heart, a definite nurturer. This is somebody who actually wants to give love, to heal, to soothe, to really connect at a heartfelt level, which is very beautiful. This is somebody who's very honest, and I think they'd do anything for you if you would let them in. And I think this is a part of where I feel things are coming off track a little bit, because you're starting to pull back in a way where you're becoming very concerned as to whether this is too risky. And so based on your previous experiences, maybe you're feeling that this is just a little bit, just a little bit too much of a gamble in a way that is opposing to the idea of actually securing a future that is much more solid. This person really does want to take it to the next level, though, grow older together. They want to grow old together. But by contrast, how is it that you really feel? And I think this is where I kind of sort of feel that you feel that things are out of control and that you need to be in control. So therefore, taking a step back, becoming more reserved, closing things down a little bit, controlling what's going on, gives you the ability to really measure things in a way that it's not that you can't be natural in terms of how this grows, how this evolves, but it's really about risk management for you. And I think that's based on some really strong criteria. I think there's a lot of anxiety here that really overwhelms you. You just don't want to make the same mistakes that you've made in the past. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. So I kind of feel for you, having fun is one thing, but, you're really wanting to build towards outcomes that give you results, and, you want some give and take. This person needs to look more at the idea of security. They need to get a little bit more serious, a little bit more mature about what it means for the future for you. So I kind of feel like there's some reconciliation that needs to take place. This person's kind of just going with the flow in a way where they're naturally exploring their heart. And for you, you feel very much the same, but at the same time, you want things to get a little bit more serious in a way that begins to plan things out around the idea of having children. You're really ready for that. The nurturing instincts, they're all sitting there. They've kicked in, I would say, quite a long time ago. And so the idea of children is something that you really want to establish, you really want to ground this. Now, for me, I feel that this relationship is heading to a point where it's a crossroads situation, where the both of you need to make some decisions based on all of your experiences that have brought you to this particular point. And really, it's about telling it how it is from both sides of the story. This person's just following a flow, whereas you're looking to make plans that give you security for the future. I feel that within the next month to 2 months that the two of you will begin to have a really serious conversation about what the future means for the both of you in terms of the idea of having children. And I feel that this person will largely be on board with giving you the confidence that they are on board to build towards this idea of a more established future that gives you both security, but also builds towards what your goals really are. I think where the curveball is for me is that I feel that within 1 year, okay, and that's within 1 year, so any time up to the next year, that you're actually naturally going to get pregnant with this person, which kind of circumnavigates everything that we're talking about. I feel that this person will respond in a really favorable way because they really like you and they're actually falling in love with you. They're head over heels with you in a way where, okay, they might be a little bit uncertain about where things are going in terms of the idea of having kids for the moment, but organically and naturally, I feel that once you get pregnant, that doesn't even matter to them. It's just all that will really matter is that you're together, that you've done this really amazing thing, and that you've seeded something that actually grounds a future together. So for me, I feel within 1 year, you will get pregnant with this person, and that will actually really seed the ground for a relationship that becomes quite rock solid. Look, I hope this reading has made some sense to you, and if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about me, who it is that I am, and what it is that I do. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card 3. This is your reading and we're looking at your future in terms of pregnancy and children. And we've got some cards ready to go on the table, so let's just jump straight into it. I didn't feel that you were in a relationship actually. I felt that there was a relationship perhaps that had left a significant mark on you. And perhaps that's actually been a turning point in terms of your views to move forward around the idea of children. I kind of feel like there's been a sort of major transition since a relationship that you had. I felt that this was a really difficult relationship, that you've been really let down. And it was a reality check in a way where I think this particular person, has sort of shown themselves to be very weak and unable to stand the test of time. But I also feel that this is not the first person who has left this kind of an impression on you. I felt that there were a series of relationships that had either let you down or just didn't go that extra distance in terms of the staying power to really just be honest. And to stand the test of time. And I think that has brought you to a transition point in your life where you're really having to assess what's going on. I feel that you're a very strong, determined person. I get a very passionate energy. I think once you lock into something that you like doing, whether it's your work and career, which I think might be a big focus for you, because there's a lot of energy there that really needs to unfold in a way that is very explorative. So it could be work and career, but also, there's an adventurous spirit here that really is about seeing the world and having experiences that really expand your horizons and give you the ability to engage in challenges. I think challenges something that really turn you on. You like a challenge and you like to succeed. For me, I felt you were a born leader. I felt that you had strong determination, adventurer kind of, and I guess an adventurous spirit. But also that you were very hardworking. I get a sense that this is a very professional person. And if you're not at that point, it's certainly within your DNA to kind of unfold into that kind of focus, because there's a lot of energy there and you really like challenges. I felt travel was really important for you as well. It's very much, in that spirit of expanding horizons. And there's a uniqueness to you as well. I think you like to do things your own way. I don't think you like to be conformed or put inside a box. I think you like to just go with the flow and to figure things out in your own way. So non-traditional, non-conformist, a very spiritual energy as well. I get a definite spiritual sort of connection here. I think that that's very important to you. I think that you are guided very strongly by your spiritual connection to the world, however you may wish to interpret that. So that could be anything from being pagan to maybe, so I wouldn't have said religious, because I think that might be too conformed, but definitely a sense of, connection to a wider energy or force. I think you hate being tied down. I think that's the big thing that I'm getting here. For me, this is where relationships can be really problematic, because freedom's really important to you. And I think relationships can be and have been very suffocating in a way that take a lot of effort. I think they take a lot of energy. And also I think you're somebody who puts, and don't take this the wrong way, I think you're somebody who actually puts work first in more often than not. Because you love what you do and you do what you love. And so it's always been perhaps work or work sort of related focuses, or anything that's really passionate for you. I felt also that the idea of traditional roles in relationship, that was something that really turned you off. It's like, you don't want to sort of be, it's too twee for you. You know what I mean? It's like, defining yourself as the partner of somebody is just too narrow, too limited. And also I think even the way you would categorize relationships as like being a couple, I think that's something that's not really your cup of tea. I don't want this to sound negative, because I don't think that it is at all. I think if anything, here what I'm seeing, all that glitters, is like, everything that's been presented to you in terms of the idea of what a relationship is supposed to be, or how you're supposed to follow suit in terms of developing and growing and pairing off with somebody. I think for you it's like, oh gosh, there has to be more to life than just that. And I think your inner self is very clear about that. And I think that there's been a lot of conflict with doing what you think you should do and getting involved with people in terms of moving towards this idea about settling down and having kids and a family. And so in that respect, it's kind of gone against the grain for you, because you're kind of following through on this idea of what you've always been told, which is that you're supposed to have a formal traditional wedding or relationship, or that you're supposed to follow through and live out this fairy tale existence. And for you, your spiritual self has some very different ideas as to what's possible. And so that idea of what is glistening and glittering to other people, it's almost like, deep down, you just don't buy into it. You don't buy into fairy tales. I think you're much more of a realist. And also, once again, it comes back to this point of sort of feeling really suffocated. You want to see the world. You want to see what it has to offer. And, it's at odds with how it is that you sort of think you're supposed to act out or be. So there's a lot of emotional, I guess, tension there, about compliance versus freedom and exploration. I think this is all very beautiful. I just get a sense that there's a free spirit here. I think this, for me, this is about autonomy. And this is somebody who knows how to stand on their own 2 feet, and knows how to steer the course in a way that actually gets successful results. I feel that, there's a real strong spiritual support here in terms of your anchor, like you've got your head on your shoulders facing the right way. You have your bearings from a spiritual perspective. Freedom is really important to you. And, this thing with death and the Ten of Swords, I kind of feel this is more symbolic as a point of reference for previous relationships, which a lot of them have had narcissistic tendencies. Yeah. Just really tricky relationships that have gone against the grain in terms of everything that you've stood for, essentially. And I kind of feel that this has caused you to sort of want to slow down. It's like, oh, hang on a second, where's this all going? And slow down, and it really brings you to this point of really, once again, as I said at the beginning, of having a reality check. And I think these relationships, it's caused you to feel very vulnerable. And I think it's given you, a sense of reserve. It's like, I don't know if I really want to open up to people anymore. I don't know if I want to keep on repeating these experiences. And even if there is a sense of potential to be able to pair off with somebody who can meet me at some level that is how I would identify as a person, I just don't know if I could put myself through all of this again, and for something to even remotely, come up in terms of an experience that might remind you of everything it is that you hate about this. So for me, a very unorthodox individual, and where is this going? Because at the end of the day, I think you're at a point of thinking, well, I don't feel that I've kind of explored all my options in terms of who it is that I want to be as a person. I'm a professional individual who knows how to take control of life. I kind of feel that you've got a lot of things sorted here. I kind of feel that you're very together, and the idea of actually, creating abundance, like security and finances, assets. For me, this is like, I think this is really quite sort of, it's ABC to you. It's not, for a lot of other people that would actually be really challenging, and they feel that they would need to have a partner in order to achieve those things. And for you, I don't think that that's the case at all. I think you're very capable, you're very strong, hardworking, and passionate, and you apply yourself in a way where you actually sort of, you just focus that energy and you manifest things very, very easily. And I think you love a challenge. So for you, it's more a matter of how long is this going to take, as opposed to whether you can actually do it or not. Moving forward, I kind of felt that this, for me, was for me, I kind of felt like, in terms of where it was going, was that you would meet somebody who would actually share these unorthodox views. I'm calling them unorthodox, and they're not really. They're just different ways of doing things. Somebody who doesn't want to buy into the establishment, somebody who doesn't want to buy into this idea of having to pair off into, to some sort of happily ever after scenario. Somebody who wants to kind of work around things in a way that is just different. I felt that there was somebody who was coming into your life. For me, I felt that this was actually within the next 18 months, and that they would come into your life in a way where they kind of work more alongside you. So it was an intimate relationship on one level, but it was also distant on another. It's non-conformist. I kind of felt it was, two individuals coming together with very similar ideals. I felt that this was really important, because this person understood what you wanted to achieve in terms of the idea of having children, or a child. I'm going to say a child. But that they didn't want to necessarily be overly involved. It's involved, but it's not suffocatingly so. It was more about a support to you to be able to have a child in a way where maybe you need to be seen as being a traditional couple, yet at the same time, you're fairly independent. I hope this is making sense, but I felt very strongly about this. And for me, I felt it was 4 years that you would have a child, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel that this was you getting pregnant. I felt that this was actually a made-to-order child. I mean, it sounds a bit strange to say made-to-order, but I felt this could be adoption, fostering, surrogacy. It was very much in line with wanting to have a child in a way that didn't buy into the way you had to have a child. And also there's something about made to order that's really important here. It's not like you're sort of making a child, according to a set of criteria that you write down so much. It's it's a little bit more spiritual than that. It's kind of like putting it out into the world and into the universe and saying that you want a child based on circumstances, your circumstances, but perhaps also based on the child's circumstances. Maybe this is about giving a child a chance from a deprived area or a deprived part of the world, or it could be a lot of different things. But I really felt that it was an important part of almost like a moral and ethical and even perhaps even a political way of being real. Okay. And I felt that you and this other person would form a family unit, but that it was a really different way of doing things, essentially. So for me, this is it's for me, because I'm pulling out all of the wands here, and it just goes so much into what I've described. I think for you, it's like it's a challenge. It's a challenge to do things in a way that's quite different, maybe a little bit unique, maybe also putting the fingers up to the establishment, but moreover, it's also doing things your own way. It's a part of your individuality, and I felt that this was really important to you because it's sort of like the relationship. The base note of a relationship is not underpinning this. It's not needed in this situation. What is needed is for you to follow your own truth, not to buy into all that glitters, calling it for what it really is, listening to your instincts in terms of your true spiritual bearings, not getting involved in a relationship just because you're supposed to and you have to settle down. And at the end of the day, where you need to actually buy into the establishment, you've got your bearings in order to be able to do that with the support of somebody who actually is in a relationship with you, but in a kind of different way, I hope that you can unpack that and it will make sense to you, but that's what I see. And I hope this has made some sense to you. And if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am there. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to card 4. This is your reading, and today we're looking at pregnancy and what's going to happen in terms of the outcome and the timeline. So, ready to jump in? We've got some cards here ready to go, plenty to work with, and there's a real, I guess, sense of productivity here for me in your character. I think over the years you've really put down a lot of constructive effort to achieve a lot of different results on a lot of different levels. I think you've got a very big picture overview in terms of what you want to achieve in the world, both at a personal and at a professional point of view. And it comes back to this capacity to be able to take it all on. And there's a steadfastness there for me that really achieves results that are based on effort, but also, I think also from a technical point of view, you're very good at strategy. You see opportunity in the world and you know that there are rewards that will actually give you what it is that you want, both at a financial level, but also in terms of a fulfillment level. This shows a lot of intelligence to me. It shows a lot of capacity. But it shows me that this is somebody who really knows what they want out of life. I feel that you have worked very steadily over a number of years to really put down a solid foundation of security. I feel like there's money in the bank. I think you've been working towards certain goals that put different elements of your life into place in a way where you are ready to have a child. I wasn't so sure if you already had a child. Maybe for some of you there is, but largely I didn't feel that that was the case. I feel, that you have been considering this particular I was going to say opportunity, but it's not really. It's about having a child. I mean, this is a very well considered position. I think you're very sure of yourself. You know what you want to do. You know what it's going to take. I feel that you are in the thrust of work, that there is a lot of work on your plate. I feel like you have been taking it all on with work and that you have been achieving a lot in that particular direction. I feel like you are very professionally minded, probably quite competitive as well. I think you like a challenge, essentially. I think you just like to throw yourself at it, and you like to see if you can get the results that you are determined, really. It's a determination for me that sort of wants to get the rewards, but also just wants the challenge. I think you enjoy life at this level. There's a great deal of confidence here. So work, I feel, is going very good for you. You know, like you're heading in a really good direction. There's a lot on your plate. I also felt that there was a degree of social pressure here in terms of having kids. I wondered whether there was pressure from family, maybe pressure from friends. Socially, it could also be a bit more broad than that. It could be community, in which case, maybe you feel that you're at a point in your life where you should be having a child. This is not a tick box exercise, but this is a sort of, another important landmark point, where you really need to fulfill something that's very important. That you've gathered enough momentum to this particular point, that this feels right for you. I felt that you were in a relationship. Now, this is where I feel that there are some tensions, underlying tensions. I felt that things hadn't been working so great in terms of the relationship. I don't know that that was because of you. I felt that your partner, excuse me, I felt your partner had a lot of worries about the relationship, a lot of uncertainty about where things were going. I wondered whether they'd actually articulated this in a clear way. I had a feeling that your partner is a very thoughtful person. I think they get a little bit caught up in their head, though. I think there's a tendency to overthink, and it leads to a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety. I think your partner can get very stressed. I think there's a tendency to be a glass half empty as opposed to you, which is half full. So I think that you're very different people for very different reasons. I think your partner is very analytical and I think very intelligent, but it's high energy in a much more internal way. Your high energy output and broad capacity, whereas your partner's micro. Your macro, for me, they're micro, so they're much more internal. And I get a lot of worry from this person in a way that can be very undermining to themselves, not so much the relationship. I think they tend to lack confidence. They lack a belief in themselves in terms of what's possible. And I think this is where you are an enormous support to that person, because you're all things possible. Anything goes for you. It's just a matter of applying yourself, and with a bit of strategy, a bit of effort, and some confidence, which you've got truckloads of. It can work, and that's a really amazing influence on your partner, because your partner is much more on the back foot in terms of just not being able to see the big picture, not having the confidence, and also not having the big picture overview. They get too caught up in the detail is what I'm picking up here. But they've had a lot of worry around the relationship. And I think it's not so much that the worry is about whether it's right or wrong for you. I think that they've just really been having a very difficult time with themselves. I think that they haven't felt so confident about the idea of having a child. I think there's a lot of worry wrapped up in that because of who they are. For them, I feel there is a degree of weakness in terms of their character. And when I say that, it's more because, I think they worry that they don't have the capacity to be able to give a child support or to take on all the aspects of what it means to be a parent, and whether that would put too much pressure on the relationship as well. And so at the moment, I kind of feel, I felt that there were a lot of efforts to become pregnant, and that they were obviously missing the mark. It wasn't quite getting there. And I felt that there wasn't anything wrong for you on that level. I felt you were very receptive. very fertile, very, I felt the ground was ready to, that there was a readiness to be pregnant. But I thought that your partner didn't, it's almost like their heart wasn't in it. If they were attempting to become pregnant with you, it's with concern, or it's with a lack of, being heartfelt about this. There was something that was missing here in terms of the overall holistic connection towards, right effort is what I'm saying. Over here as a thinker, this kind of reinforces the sort of, overly thinking nature of the Page of Wands that's reinforced by the Devil. And the Devil's quite a negative energy. And it pinches the relationship. And, the Page of Swords is a very worried character that does become quite self-absorbed, And so for me, there's a lot going on here that really takes a lot of effort to support this person. And I feel that they've come to a point now where they've realized they really need to figure out what is it they really want in life. I did also worry that there may be some health concerns here around getting pregnant for them. That perhaps this is something that they are looking into, but I did feel for me, okay, that this was more mind, body, soul related, that the negative undermining influence of this person's, predisposition to get, anxious about things was the main contributing factor, and less about health in terms of the physical function of what's going on. At the end of the day, I feel that for you, it's like you're also overextending, and we have this, it's like a tension of opposites. It's like you're overextending, doing all that you can to give the relationship the support, strategizing and fulfilling aspects of, supporting the relationship, but also, in terms of really laying down the foundation to give, a very secure basis to have a child. I felt for some reason, I felt that perhaps you were the main breadwinner here as well, that, a lot of your efforts were also about, fulfilling some really important financial or material goals, and that you were very successful in achieving those. And perhaps that kind of, also undermines the confidence of your partner a little bit. I kind of feel there's a sense of a real lack of self-worth here. There's a lack of confidence overall, but I think they doubt themselves too much. And they just need to get out of their head a little bit, but at the same time, I feel also that you need to stop and breathe. We come here to breathe. Breathe is about balance. It's taking a moment to replenish. It's taking a moment to put your foot on the brake a little bit, because you're all go, 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 go. And, sometimes it's really important to look after yourself. And I feel that you're looking after everything and after everybody else, that you're all guns blazing, and that perhaps you're taking that for granted a little bit as well. That it's also about mindfulness, by bringing back, some center to yourself by just, meditating. This is about spirituality in some ways. It's about bringing spirit into the equation. And I feel that, it's again, all guns blazing. So for me, it's important for you to stop, to take some time out, to replenish your soul, to breathe, okay? And just to gain deeper insight into what's going on around you by not doing so much. So it's about bringing awareness through stillness. And I feel that will link you in, more importantly, to your partner, who is needy, but at the same time, perhaps what you've been giving to them, what you've been trying to support them with isn't exactly what it is they really need. Perhaps what they're looking for is validation at a different level in terms of connection. And so I feel that this is an important, balance that needs to take place in terms of them getting out of their head and into their body, but also for you to get out of your body and more into your spiritual self. And that the two of you need to make a more important holistic connection that is based on balance, on being centered with each other in an effort to become pregnant. I feel that this is heading in the right direction. For me, if we come over here to the Lovers and the Ace of Pentacles, I feel that your partner is definitely making a decision to move forward in this relationship with confidence. I feel like they're turning the corner. A part of what that is also connecting with each other in a much more realistic way that gives each other what each other is needing. I also felt that there was a very important corner that would be turned for your partner as well. There was some sort of security or some sort of reward coming for them in terms of an opportunity. It could be about work or some sort of financial reward. I felt that there was something very tangible that would really give them a boost of confidence in terms of mapping out where this is going in terms of its potential between the both of you, but also in terms of having a child. And so there's this kind of, evolving confidence that really underpins the relationship in a much more balanced way, but also balances and underpins the idea of having a child in a much more confident way as well. I felt I'm going to be honest with you. I felt within a year that you were both in a much better place, making a decision about having a child, that there was confidence there between the two of you. And perhaps this was a point where you would both start to be on the same page and try to have a child. But I did feel that it was more of an 18 to 24 month period before you would become pregnant. And then you would definitely have a child after that point. So, a maximum of 24 months is where I foresee pregnancy taking place. I will say something here. I feel that in terms of a longer term projection, I felt that there was 3 children here. Yeah. So 24 months, I felt a child, but then I felt there were 2 more children as well. And I felt much more closely linked in terms of a timeline, perhaps a bit of a gap between the first one and the second one, but then very, very closely a third. So for me, definitely the potential for 3 children here. I'll just kind of round this off by saying, you have an enviable confidence, and you have an enviable capacity to be able to reach some really amazing heights, yeah? But I think you do need to look after yourself in a way that gives back to you. And sometimes, maybe also, having those characteristics, those skills, it does have a tendency to sort of sweep you in a way where you miss what's going on more peripherally, yeah, because it can get a little bit tunnel focused in terms of achievement. So take a step back, breathe, link in with your partner, maybe look to fulfill their needs at a much more sort of base level in terms of just basic connectivity, yeah, instilling some confidence. And I feel that will actually go a long way. I hope this reading has made some sense, and if it has, please feel free to leave some comments down below. It'd be great to get your feedback. Like and share this video where you can. Hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. If you are interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is that you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Anyway, thank you very much and take care.